Okay, so let me discuss the performance task for our second quarter. So it is called remote technical support. So your department provides computer remote technical support to clients with virtual servers in data centers. Now, the thing is, in today's uh, computing landscape, the physical servers now, to maximize the capability of a server, some servers have physical servers have two or more virtual servers inside. The thing is to maximize its capability para, for example, ay marami kang pwedeng gawin or marami kang server na pwedeng gamitin for a single physical server. So, what you needed to do as a department is to provide technical support to a client that has these requirements. Uh, you need to the client needs to install Windows 10 uh, in a virtual machine. Also, the client will be the one to tell you the partition storage size for the Windows 10 and to install an application. So, for example, a Chrome in that uh, in the virtual machine. So for the performance, you will be graded. So there are two types: the group grade and the individual grade. So the group grade consists of the mastery. So if there is no deviation from the procedure, you get a, max, a maximum grade of 15. Time element, if the tasks are completed 30 minutes or less, I think I'll be checking if we can change this. Siguro baka mabaguhin ko to later on. Titingnan ko muna. Due to the baka I'm practicing a while ago, baka hindi kayanin ng 30 minutes. Siguro mga 35 to 40 minutes. And from there, you will get a maximum grade of 5. For the individual performance kasi, one at a time, I'll be calling a member of the group kung anong to instruct or guide the client. So kapag sumagot siya kaagad and it is correct, and of course, with a customer service manner, that member will get a 10 points, a maximum of 10 points. Okay, so it's there. You will be having an individual grade as well as the group grade. So I have divided the whole class into two. So kindly check your Zoom channel for that. So I want you to each member to cooperate. Bahala na kayo kung sino yung group leader nyo. But the thing is, maganda magkaroon kayo ng detailed step-by-step procedure so that hindi kayo mawala. Because I'll be calling one member randomly. Hindi siya sunod-sunod, hindi siya alphabetical. Okay, so I'll be calling randomly to really check if you really know the step-by-step procedure. Okay, so the client will be controlling the virtual machine. So you have to instruct. You have to instruct clearly, descriptively, the client kasi you have to assume that the client does not have any technical knowledge. So sasabihin niyo sa kanya, pakiclick po ito pong nakikita niyo may icon na ganito, and so on and so forth. You have to address the client as ma'am or sir. Okay? And you have to assume that the client already has the Windows 10 ISO or disk image installation file. Okay, so let's have an example again. Let's have a brief recap of the step-by-step. Step-by-step procedure on installing Windows 10 in your virtual PC. Right now, I have two virtual computers, ComLab 1 and ComLab 2. So ComLab 1 is currently running because nag-install kami a while ago and we will be using this on the last part of our installation. So we will be using ComLab 2 for our practice purposes. Now, the first thing that you have to do is to load the disk image file. Again, the first thing that you have to do is to load the disk image file in the virtual optical drive of your virtual machine. As you can see, the virtual machine has virtual system unit components. Kung yung physical computer has system unit components, the virtual machine has virtual system unit components like virtual memory or virtual RAM, virtual processor, virtual display, virtual hard disk, virtual optical drive, and so on and so forth. So basically, it has all the system unit components pero in a virtualized manner or software-based. Now, again, we will configure the settings of your virtual machine such that yung sa storage, again, settings, click settings, go to storage, and we have to load the ISO file, the Windows installation ISO file in your virtual optical drive. So we already have a virtual hard disk here. As you can see, yung itsura niya, it's like a hard disk, right? The other one naman is this one. It's a virtual optical drive. So let's click this one and we have to select. So I've already loaded the hard disk or the Windows installation ISO file here. Now, pag sinabing attached, ginagamit siya ng ibang virtual machine. So we have to choose from the two. In this case, meron ka ditong Windows 7. We won't be using Windows 7, Windows 10. So we will be using this one. Pro 64 is actually your Windows 10. Or we can go to the downloads. Dito ko nilagay kasi yung lahat ng ating mga gagamitin. So I'll be using this one. Yan, sa Windows 10, May 2021. And this is the disk image file, as you can see. ISO file. So ito siya. So you just click that and, okay, double click that. So it's already loaded in your storage as an optical drive. Then click OK. So it's already loaded in your virtual machine. So we can now click start. So it's basically parang pressing the start, the on button, power on button of your physical computer. So if we click start, it's as good as pressing the on button of your physical machine. So if we click start, now let me pause here for a while. Now, the same thing with your physical computer, since meron na kaming na-install dito na Windows 10 kanina, there are two bootable devices already available in this machine. So you have to select the boot device kung saan ay kung anong boot device ang gagamitin natin. So in your computers, in your physical computers, pwede niyong pindutin yung mga you can go to the BIOS settings para makita niyo yung selecting the boot device or the EFI settings. Pero in this case, in the virtual box, it's F12. So we have to click F12. Let me just click F12. There you go. Let's start. Simulan ulit natin. So click start, press F12. There you go. Now, let me remind you again, dalawang devices natin ang merong bootable uh, bootable files, the hard disk and the CD-ROM or the optical drive. So that means since we needed to install Windows, suppose ito ay may virus na and we need to format your hard disk, we will be booting your CD-ROM. So we have to type C. We have to type C here. Okay? So let's click C, click C. There you go. And you have to press any key. When we say any key, kahit na anong key. So I click a space bar or enter to be sure. So right now it is we are now entering the pumasok sa Comlab 2 mali. Hindi natin napindot kagad. Okay, let me power off the machine again. Okay, let's start again. F12, CD-ROM, type C, and any key. Okay, so that is the installation media. So this is the Windows 10 installation graphical user interface. So the first thing that you needed to do or ang babaguhin lang natin dito is the time and currency format. Time and currency format because the time the time zone of US is different from the Philippines. So we have to find English Philippines here. Sorry. So English Philippines, we have to scroll up, scroll up, scroll up until we see Philippines. English Philippines. There you go. Again, let me remind you, take note because I'll be calling people. After this, we will be having a recitation. So we will be having a practice for your performance task. Let's have a practice for your performance task. Now, after clicking English Philippines, let's click next. Then after that, click install now. Now, for those of you who have limited bandwidth or mababa ang inyong internet, you may turn off your webcam para mas bumilis-bilis yung inyong shared screen experience. So we will now click this, accept the license terms. Okay, depende sa installation nyo, Windows installation media. So, yung ibang mga installation media, wala nito. So, sa akin meron. So, just accept the license terms. And at this point, we have to click this one, install Windows only. Install Windows only. Ito, this is not recommended really because ito, ginagamit nyo to or gagamitin nyo lang to if you have Windows inside, you are inside Windows 10 and you need to upgrade. The problem about this is mas mabagal. So I do not recommend this and this is not mabagal siya and there's a possibility that the virus will still persist after installing Windows. So do not use this. You have to click this one. This is called the clean install option for Windows 10, the clean install. Because the thing is, mabubura yung mga virus mo as well as all the files. Okay? So this is the recommended best practice way of installing Windows 10. So let us click this one. Now you have your partitions. Now, suppose this is an For example, this is an old computer and you do not want any files. You do not need any files here anymore. So let us delete let us delete all partitions and create a new one. Okay, so let's do that. So let me delete everything else. So if the case is this is an old computer and you do not need the files anymore, so you have to delete everything. Okay. Mamaya gagawa tayo ng bagong scenario. So now, this is the time wherein we have to create a new partition. Now, usually, kapag gagawa tayo ng new partition, for example, for online distance learning, sapat na yung 60 gig for your operating system files. And the rest are for your personal files na. Okay? But if you have to install applications such as mga photo Premiere, Adobe Premiere, yun, medyo mabibigit yun na, or it needs larger file size, o kaya mga games. Usually yung mga games, malalaki ang files na kailangan. So you need 100 gigabytes of for operating system. Pero since 100 gig lang ang total hard disk space natin for this virtual machine, ang gagawin natin 60-40. In your performance task, you have to ask your client. Sasabihin niyo sa client niyo, Sir, gaano po kalaki ang gagamitin natin for the operating system partition? Okay? So in this case, suppose na sinabi niya 60 for the operating system and the rest is for the non-operating system file. So let us allot 60. Excuse me. So let us allot 60,000 MB. Kung bakit 60,000, it's actually 60 gig. When you convert that into gigabytes, it's 60 gigabytes. Now let us click apply. So sinasabi niya lang dito, Windows will be creating a system reserve partition. Ito yon, ito yung system reserve partition na ginawa ng Windows. At dito natin i-install sa partition 2 yung inyong Windows. Now you have to yung unallocated space, we still have to process this one para magamit mo siya after installation. Pag hindi mo ito ginalaw, hindi mo ito pinrocess, hindi mo ito magagamit later after you have installed your Windows 10. So all you have to do is to click that one, click new, and just click apply. Since kung ano na lang yung natitira, yun yung ipaprocess niya. So this is now ready for use. Again, we need to go back to partition 2 para ma-process na natin yung ating magbigin na yung installation. So there you go. So siguro mga around if you're using Core i7, mga 10 minutes lang yan. If you're using Core i5, mga around 15 to 20. Core i3, mga around 25 minutes, ganon. Okay, but we can now fast track since dalawa yung ating virtual machine. So, suppose tapos na tayo, tapos na si Windows. This is what the next phase. Ito yung final phase of configuring your Windows. After nito, ito na yung makikita mo. So it will restart, and after that, it will now it will be asking other settings so that Windows can configure your computer. So of course, so let's start with the region. So Philippines, yes. Right keyboard layout, yes. Want to add a second keyboard layout, skip. Okay. So medyo matagal to ulit. So ang gagawin natin is to mag-practice naman ulit tayo. So let us practice again on how to um, install Windows 10. So let's turn this off. Power of the machine. So aalisin ko ulit yung ating installation media so that we can start from scratch. Okay, so let's have a recitation. Let me just okay. So okay. So let's have a recitation. What is the first thing that we should do when installing Windows? Mhm. There you go. What is the first thing that we should do when installing Windows 10 in a virtual machine? You can raise your hands if you want to answer. Rosario.
Sure, ano po, pa-backup muna yung files po bago mag-install.
Okay, suppose naka-backup na. Thank you, Ms. Rosario. So, pagkatapos pa-backup, so dito na tayo sa virtual machine mismo. So again, settings. Do you still remember the settings? Oh, so let me click the settings. Saan na tayo pupunta ngayon? Legaspino.
I-click po natin yung storage.
Yes, very good. So we will be clicking storage. Thank you, Mr. Legaspino. Let's call someone else to continue. Pagkatapos nating mapindot yung actually, burahin ko lang muna. Let's start from scratch. Okay, sige. Balik tayo. Settings, sabi ni Mr. Legaspino. Storage. So what do we do next? Endozo.
Sure, pipindutin po yung ito po. Nakalimutan ko po yung tawag dito. Ayan po.
Wow, very good. Alin sa dalawa? Okay, so since nag-annotate ka na, alin dyan?
Ito
Kaliwa
po.
kanan.
Ito po.
Hala.
Ay,
Ulit.
mga ano pala yun. Yung nasa kanan po.
Kanan. Ito yung
Opo.
kanan. Ulit. Kanan. Ito yung kanan. Tama?
Opo.
Okay. Hindi yan yun. So actually, what we needed to do is, this is a hard disk. Ang kailangan nating ilagay ay optical drive. So it should be kaliwa. Okay?
Ay, okay.
Sige, so, sino yun? Sino yung sumagot, Mr. Endozo, no?
Opo.
Okay, so, kaliwa. O, sige, if gusto mong bumawi, Mr. Endozo, sino dyan yung pipiliin natin?
Wait lang po. Ano lang.
So, merong, sabihin na natin 1, 2, or 3. Sino pipiliin natin dyan? Oh, how about the other? Sige. May point ka na naman, Endozo. Don't worry. Sumagaysay.
Yung number 2 po, yung Pro X64 na Windows 10.
Yes. So, kasi ito, Windows 7, ito ginagamit ng ibang virtual machine. So, this is free. We can now use this. So, let us choose this one and press OK so that yung setting will be saved. Sumagaysay. Next. So, what do we do next? Topacio?
Sir, i-click niyo po yung start po dyan sa virtual machine. Yung po
Okay.
po na arrow.
Very good. So, the green arrow, I will click this one. Pero, after I click this one, medyo marami pa tayong pipindutin eh. Okay, so let me remind you what to do. Thank you, Mr. Topacio. Let me give you a grade immediately. Start. I'll just close this one para mas maalala nyo kung ano nangyari. Okay. Okay. Meron tayong mga pipindutin. So, after the start, there are a series of keys that we need to press. Okay? So, balik tayo from the start. So, what should those keys be? So, after we click start, ano yung dapat nating pipindutin? So, again, let me pause this para mas makita nyo. Ano yung dapat nating pipindutin as soon as nakita ninyo yung post? This is actually ito yung parang BIOS screen ng inyong virtual machine. Sa inyong computer, karaniwan yung logo ng or model or brand ng laptop nyo or motherboard nyo, yung makikita nyo dyan. If kung Asus yung motherboard nyo or Dell yung laptop nyo, minsan yun yung makikita nyo dito sa BIOS or EFI screen. Now, kailangan kasi nating piliin yung boot device. So what should we garana. So what is the key that we should press?
F12.
Yes, okay, let me just start that again, ha. So start F12. Okay. So after F12, you have been given a choice kung anong installation media ang gagamitin natin. Is it the hard disk, floppy CD-ROM, or LAN? And what should we press? Let me give you a grade, Miss Garana. Oh, who else? See? Tapos, yung mga nakapagsagot na, I'll be giving a chance to others para meron din silang recitation for today. Bautista.
Click letter C po, CD-ROM.
Yes, so we will be clicking CD-ROM. There you go. Then what do we need to press kapag nakita niyo to? Itong press any key to boot from CD or DVD. Thank you, Bautista. So pag nakita niyo yung press any key to boot from CD or DVD, what key should we press? Yumul.
Yung space po.
Yes, actually.
Space bar.
Yes. Yumul. Thank you, Yumul. Kahit ano, actually, you can tell the client space bar, enter, or kahit na anong key. Okay? So, pero pinaka-safe, space bar or the enter. Okay, so let's do that again. from the start, power on or the start button, then click F12. Then we have to choose the CD-ROM, C, and click the space bar. So it will now proceed with your Windows 10 installation graphical user interface. Okay, so let us wait for that to happen. Okay, so what do we do next? You can raise your hand. What should we, do we need to click anything here? Do we need to click anything here? Pero but, yes, Miss Maralit.
Papalitan po yung sa time and currency format ng English Philippines.
English Philippines. So we will click this one and let us find English Philippines here. There you go. English Philippines. Then we will click what, Miss Maralit? Pag napindot na natin to,
Pipindutin po yung next.
yes, we have to click next after that. Okay, who's next? Next screen na. So what should we click here? What should we click here at this point? Vega.
Sir, yung pipindutin po yung install now.
Yes, we have to click the install now button. So setup is starting. Let us wait for Windows to initialize the setup process. What's next? So Vega, may points ka na. Who else? Navarro.
Sure, basahin po yan. Tapos i-click yung I accept the license terms.
Okay,
Tapos
so
next po.
okay, so we accept the license terms. So click that. Let us click the checkbox there. Then click next. Navarro. Okay, may points na. Who else? Bacuetes.
Sir, pipindutin po yung custom.
Yes, so we have to click the custom install Windows only to proceed with the next step. Okay, now for in this scenario naman, okay, so suppose this is our computer already and partition 3 is where we back up our files. Okay, so ibig sabihin nandito lahat ng mga important files natin. So all we needed to do is to delete the operating system file. So all this is what we do. Kapag sa ganong senaryo na may kailangan nating or hindi natin papakialaman yung ating files, backup files, we need to delete only partition 1 and partition 2. Okay. So that means itong partition 1, which is where our backup files is located or are located, ang gagawin na lang natin is itong unallocated space, this is where we will put our windows. So we will have to click new here, then click apply. So again, sasabihin niya, Windows will create a system reserved file. So this is the system reserved file. Automatically, ang naka-highlight is partition 2, which is ready for installing Windows 10. So if that is the case, it's already highlighted there, magiging next. Or you have to click next. So as you can see in this scenario, yung ating files in this partition or yung drive niyo won't be harmed. Ibig sabihin, it is safe, completely safe during reinstallation of Windows. Now let us click next. Now let's go back to again dun sa ating okay. So this is the last part of setting up your Windows 10. So in this case, Windows is asking if you want to use a Microsoft account. Actually, uh, when Windows 10 started, parang the thing is, since established na si Apple device and Google, so parang nakuha niya yung idea of using the accounts, Google accounts or the Apple accounts para masync yung mga different devices nila. So ginagaya lang ni Windows 10. Pero kung sa akin lang, it is not flexible enough, lalo na if you're in an organization. So if you're in an organization, if you're working in an organization, you have to click for this one. If the client has a Microsoft account that she or he wants to use it, pero hindi pwedeng gamitin dito yung MCEMOS account. If you want to do this on your own, for example, if you are installing your own Windows 10 in your laptop, it won't work kapag ang ginamit nyo dito ay inyong MCA Microsoft account. Okay, it won't work. So proceed to set up for an organization. You click this one. Next. So again, gusto niya gamitin mo ang Microsoft Work or school account mo, but we won't do that. Let's just click domain join instead. Ito yung classical na paraan to add account in your Windows 10. So since this is ComLab 1, let me name this as ComLab 1. Then I won't be entering any password. So I'll just click next. So we'll just wait for a moment. Ayun. So privacy settings, yes, let's just accept that. And it will be detecting all the possible hardware your computer have or devices that is connected or peripherals connected to your laptop or physical machine. So let us wait for Windows to detect that and finalize the configuration. So in the meantime, while Windows is configuring, making the final configurations for Windows 10, do you have any questions that you want to clarify? So in your performance task next week, Group 1 will be perform on Monday. Group 2 will perform on Tuesday. So I'll be calling one member at a time. So it's not alphabetical. So I'll be calling one member out of nowhere. So to really check if you know the step-by-step procedure or if you understand the line of the logic behind the procedure. Okay? Any questions so far? So while we are waiting for the final steps. So the last part, so after Windows have configured your machine, mag-i-install pa tayo ng application. So that is the final task that we should do. So in this demo, we will be installing Chrome kasi unang-una mas mabilis siyang ma-install. And also it is the classic way of installing applications in your Windows device. Kasi in your Windows, there are two ways to install application. One is through the use of Microsoft Store. Again, si Windows 10 nga ginagaya niya yung style or yung the idea that the Apple devices have made an example of, or the Google. So na through the store or Google Play apps or the App Store in Apple devices. Pero most applications kasi pa rin ay ini-install kay Windows through the executable file. So let us learn how to do that. So let us download an application, an executable file. So let us open Microsoft Edge. So since I do not want to use Microsoft Edge, let us, let's just close this one. Okay, so let me type Chrome download. Let us try to download an installer for Chrome. Chrome download. So download now. So what we are trying to download is the installation file for your Google Chrome. So there you go. So let me just click this one, download Chrome. So let me just click again, download Chrome para mas mabilis ma-download. Apa? I need, where are you? Ayun. So now it is trying to download the installation file. As you can see, the name of the file is chromesetup.exe. These three letters are called the extension name. Exe means executable file. Executable file, which means these are files that you use to install applications. So let us open this file, or let's just click that. So the good thing about the Google installer is you just click one and it will install on its own. So madali lang siyang install. Some applications, marami siyang mga tanong, but all you have to do is just click next and next. Okay, mga license agreements, just click next. Okay. So it's already installing, and after that, we are through. There you go. So you have already installed Chrome in your newly reformatted Windows 10 virtual machine. So that's it. This is how your performance task ends. Okay, so if you reach this one, that means you've already you are through with your performance task. Now, you have any questions? You have any questions? Because this is the last time that we will be meeting. And of course, you cannot ask questions during the performance task. Yes, Ms. Rosario?
Teacher, yung performance task is all about Windows 10 installation po.
Yes, yon. Kung ano yung ginawa natin right now, diba, you start from this one. So basically, that's it. So the idea here is parang the client is asking questions is asking guidance from you. So you are a group of technical support people, and i-guide niyo yung client step by step during the process. Nanawaan? So if you go, let us go back to our performance task again. So the thing is, so you will be using, ipapakita ng client yung shared screen niya. So you have to guide the client. So I'll be calling one member at a time para i-guide yung client. Pag nag-guide na niya, After a certain step, tatawag na naman ako ng bagong member. So hanggang sa matawag na yung lahat ng members at matapos yung task. Okay? The performance task sheet is already posted in your Google Classroom. You can check that there. Also, the groupings is already posted in your Zoom channel right now. You have any questions? Yes, Miss Rosario.
Making sure lang po na sa Tuesday next week po ito.
May ano daw, may?
Making sure lang po kung Tuesday next week po ito.
Hindi. Bale ganito. Di ba may group 1 at saka group 2? Nakita niyo na ba yung groupings nyo sa Zoom channel?
Opo.
Okay. Group 1 is Monday. Group 2 is Tuesday. Understood?
Opo. Thank you.
Okay. So, ibig sabihin, sa Monday, hindi ko makikita yung group 2. Group 1 lang. So, sila lang yung magpa-perform. Si group 2, you can have a meeting on your own. Pero sa Tuesday ko pa kayo matatawag. Yung group 1 lang ang magpa-perform on Monday. Group 2 ang magpa-perform on Tuesday. Same time. Kung ano yung oras ng ating computer, that means yun yung oras ng ating performance task. Unawaan? May question pa? May nagtataas ng kamay kanina? Yes, Legaspino.
Sir, doon po sir sa pagba-backup sir ng files. Kami pa po sir yung ano.
Okay. So let me add the additional. So assume that the files have already been. Sige, i-assume natin yun ha. Isama natin. So assume that the files have already been backed up. Okay? So there's no need for you to back up files. Assume that the files have already been backed up, or there is no need for backup. Okay, so hindi natin focus ang pagba-backup right now. Ang focus natin is to format the procedures in the format. But of course, in the real world, backup is important. Pero in this scenario, there is no need for us to back up our files, or there is no need. What else? Okay, if there is none, I'll be dismissing you. You can PM me regarding your questions, but do not PM me during the time of the performance. You cannot ask. Okay, you can ask me before your performance task to clarify some principles or concepts, but do not ask me during the performance task. Okay, so I think that's it. Let me just stop the recording so that we can have our closing prayer.